Welcome back, children. In the next session of our Class 10 History, third chapter, Nationalism in India. In the previous video, we had seen about the satyagrahas and also the events like the Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and the Khilafat movement that took place in our country, which became the base for the non cooperation movement. In this part of our chapter, we will be seeing about the non cooperation movement launched in India by Gandhiji in detail. That is, what was the philosophy of the non cooperation movement, how it started in our country, and what were the challenges faced by the non cooperation movement. First, we'll just go through the content, what we are going to see. We are going to see why there was a need for the non cooperation movement. Then, we are going to see the differing strands within the movement, that is, how it took place in the cities and the towns, then in the countryside, how it differed, that is, from the Awadh peasants movements to the tribals movement in the Gudem hills of Andhra Pradesh. And then, last but not the least, here the Swaraj that took place in the tea plantation. Now, Gandhiji, in his famous book called Hind Swaraj, which he wrote in the year 1909, declared that the British rule was established in India with the cooperation of the Indians and had survived only because of this cooperation. He argued that India will never be free unless it rejects the Western civilization itself. This book later was banned by the British authorities in the year 1910, which was written in Gujarati. But the book that he had translated in English was not banned, as it could not be put much impact on the English speaking Indians. How could non cooperation become a movement? Gandhiji said if Indians refused to cooperate, then the British rule in India, it would collapse within a year and Swaraj could come. Gandhiji proposed that the movement should unfold in stages. It should begin with the surrender of titles that the British government has awarded, boycott of civil services, army, police, courts and legislative councils, schools and foreign goods. If the government used repression, then a full civil disobedience campaign would be launched. Gandhiji and Shaukat Ali toured extensively through the summer of 1920, mobilizing popular support for the movement. But within the Congress, many were concerned about the proposals. They were reluctant to boycott the council elections, which was scheduled for November 1920. They feared that the movement might lead to a popular violence. There was intense tussle within the Congress between September and December 1920. Then a compromise was worked out. and the non-cooperation program was adopted. Now the question is, how did the movement unfold? Who participated in it? And how did different social groups conceive the idea of the non-cooperation? The non-cooperation Khilafat movement began in January 1921. Many social groups participated in this movement. Each one had their own specific aspiration, but all of them responded to the call of Swaraj, though the term meant different things to different people. Now, first we will see the differing strands of the movement in towns and cities. The movement started with the middle class participating in the cities. Thousands of students left government controlled schools and colleges. Headmasters and teachers resigned. The lawyers also gave up their legal practices. The council elections were boycotted in most provinces except in Madras, where the Justice Party, the party of the non-Brahmins, felt that entering the council was one way of gaining some power, something that usually only the Brahmins had access to. The Justice Party was a political party in the Madras Presidency of the British India, established on 20th November 1916. It opposed Brahmins in civil services and politics. This party also campaigned against the non-cooperation movement. Now here you can see some slides, some images of the non-cooperation movement that took place in the towns and the cities. The import of the foreign cloth halved between 1921 and 1922. Its values dropped from 102 crores to 57 crores. In many places, merchants and traders refused to trade in foreign goods. As the boycott movement spread and people began discarding imported clothes and wearing only Indian ones, the production of the Indian textile mills and the handlooms increased. But this movement in the cities gradually slowed down due to some reasons. Khadi clothes was often very expensive than the mass-produced mill cloth, and poor people could not afford to buy it. Similarly, the boycott of the British institutions also led to a problem. For the movement to be successful, alternative Indian institutions should be set up so that they could be used in place of the British one. And they were very slow to come up. So the students and the teachers began slowly moving back to the government schools and colleges. And the lawyers also joined forcefully back to the work in the government courts. Now, from the cities, the non-cooperation movement spread to the countryside. This movement not only spread among the peasants in Awadh but also among the tribals. In Awadh, the peasant struggle was led by Baba Ramchandra. He was a sannyasi who was an indentured laborer in Fiji. He led the movements against talukdars and landlords who demanded high rents for peasants. Children in cities, the protest was directly against the British government. But here it was against the landlords and the talukdars who collected the rents and revenues for the British. Peasants had to do beggar and work at landlord's farm without payment. Children here indentured and beggar means one and the same. That is, it was a labor that villagers were forced to work without any payment. The peasants' movement demanded reduction of revenue, abolition of beggar, and social boycott of oppressive landlords. In many places, Nai Dobi Bands were organized by panchayats to deprive landlords of the services of barbers and washermen. In 1920, Jawaharlal Nehru began going around the villages in Awadh, talking to the villagers and understanding their grievances. By October, the Awadh Kisan Sabha was set up, headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, Baba Ramchandra, and few others. Within a month, more than 300 branches had been set up in the villages around the region. Therefore, when the non-cooperation movement began in the following year, the efforts of the Congress was to integrate the our peasant struggle into a wider struggle. But looking at the development of the peasants' movement, the Congress leadership was unhappy. As the movement spread in 1921, the houses of talukdars and the merchants were attacked. Bazaars were looted. Grains hoarded were taken away. In many places, local leaders told peasants that Gandhiji has declared that no taxes were to be paid and land was to be distributed among themselves. Now, children, it was also the similar condition in the Gudem region or Gudem hills of Andhra Pradesh, where the tribals were there. Now here in this image, can you see the white square as well as the red square here in this image? Yes, it is the Gudem hills in Andhra Pradesh. Tribal peasants interpreted the message of Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj in yet another way. In the Gudem hills of Andhra Pradesh, a militant guerrilla movement spread in the early 1920s. It was not a form of struggle that the Congress would have approved. Here, like other forest regions, the colonial government had closed large forest areas, preventing people from entering the forest to graze their cattle or to collect fuel wood and fruits. This enraged the hill people. Not only their livelihoods were affected, but they also felt that their traditional rights were being denied. Now, when the British government began forcing them to contribute for beggar for road building, these people revolted. Alluri Sitaram Raju claimed that he had a variety of special powers, like he would make correct astrological predictions and could also heal the people. He could survive even the bullet shots. The rebels who proclaimed that he was an incarnation or an avatar of God. He talked of the greatness of Mahatma Gandhi and was also inspired by the non-cooperation movement. He persuaded people to wear khadi and give up drinking, that is, liquors. But at the same time, he asserted that India could be liberated only by the use of force and not by ahimsa or non-violence. The Godem rebels attacked police stations, attempted to kill the British officials, and even carried out guerrilla warfare to achieve Swaraj. Raju was captured and executed in 1924, and over the time he became a folk hero. As I said earlier, even the plantation workers in Assam had their own interpretation towards Mahatma Gandhiji's movement of Swaraj. For the plantation workers in Assam, freedom meant the right to move in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed, and it meant retaining a link with the village from which they had come. That is, they could not go to their village whenever they wished to. According to the Inland Immigration Act of 1859, the plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea gardens without permission. In fact, we can say that they were rarely given such permission. When they came to know about the non-cooperation movement, thousands of workers openly resisted to obey the authorities. They left the plantations and headed to their homes. They believed that Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their own villages. But unfortunately, they never reached their destinations. They stranded on the way by a railway or steamer strike, which they were unaware of. They were caught by the police and brutally beaten up. The vision of these movements were not defined by the Congress program. They interpreted the term Swaraj in their own ways, imagining it to be a time when all suffering and all troubles would be over. When the tribals chanted Gandhiji's name and raised slogans demanding Swatantra Bharat, they were also emotionally relating to all India agitation. They were identifying with a movement which went beyond the limits of their immediate locality. When they acted in the name of Gandhiji, or even when they linked their movement to that of Congress. Children, on 5th February 1922, at Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur, a peaceful demonstration in a bazaar turned into a violent clash with the police. In retaliation, the demonstrators attacked and set fire to a police station, killing 22 policemen. On hearing the incident, Gandhiji called off the non-cooperation movement on 12th February 1922, as he was strictly against the violence. So children, in this part of our chapter, we have seen about the non-cooperation movement which was started in the towns and cities, in countryside, and also in the tea plantations in Assam. And also we have seen the challenges faced in the non-cooperation movement. In the next part of the chapter, we will move towards the civil disobedience movement. Till then, children, please go through all the videos that whatever we have done till date. We have covered many things, right? That is Satyagraha, about the non-cooperation movements, Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and so on. So, children, please go through all these things, read your textbooks, and take care, children. See you in the next class.